Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Andy Cohen pays sweet tribute to late 70s sitcom star. Andy Cohen posted a sweet tribute to a beloved 1970s TV star following her death. On August 12, the Bravo host honored late actress Danielle Spencer on his Instagram story. Spencer played sarcastic little sister, Dee Thomas, on the 70s sitcom What's Happening, as well as the spin-off, What's Happening Now? Cohen, 57, shared a throwback photo of Spencer wearing denim overalls with daisies embroidered on them. She made me laugh every time she was on screen. Rip, Cohen wrote, adding a red heart emoji. Spencer died on August 11, 2025, at age 60 due to gastric cancer and cardiac arrest. Her family spokesperson, Sandra Jones, shared in a statement, according to Newsweek. Most of Spencer's acting career was spent on What's Happening, from 1976 to 1979, and the spin-off series in the mid-1980s. By 1993, she graduated from veterinary school and focused on her career as a doctor of veterinary medicine. But her sassy, tattletale teen character made a big impression on fans who watched What's Happening. In 2014, Spencer became the first child star from a television sitcom to be inducted into the Smithsonian Museum. She remains part of a permanent exhibition of the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. I still can't believe it, Spencer told ABC News of the honor in 2014. That's something people can look at for years to come, long after I'm gone. Cohen was a teen himself when What's Happening aired its original run. The host has long made known his love for classic TV, so it's no surprise that Spencer's death made him nostalgic for her comedic timing. Cohen once joked in an Associated Press interview that a Midtown New York steakhouse owned by a close friend was his own Regal Beagle, a nod to the bar/restaurant featured in the 70s sitcom Three's Company. He also told fans on Watch What Happens Live that he has a TV obsession and rushes home from work to watch what was recorded on his DVR. Cohen's Bravo Clubhouse is filled with nostalgic pop culture items from past TV shows and specials, including Dunny and Marie dolls, several Snoopy Pez dispensers, and an iconic Flip Wilson and Geraldine talking doll inspired by Wilson's self-titled variety show. The world of television may be dominated today by high-budget streaming dramas and fast-paced reality TV. But for Andy Cohen, some of the greatest treasures still live in the golden glow of the past. On Tuesday evening, the Bravo host took to his popular Instagram feed with a heartfelt post honoring a late 70s sitcom that shaped his sense of humor, his love of television, and, according to him, his earliest understanding of what a found family looked like. The sitcom in question? Room for Everyone, the warm-hearted, laugh-track-laden series that ran from 1977 to 1981. It followed the quirky lives of 5 unrelated housemates sharing a ramshackle Victorian in San Francisco, balancing rent, romance, and an endless parade of eccentric neighbors. Though it never hit the ratings juggernaut status of shows like Mork and Mindy or Three's Company, Room for Everyone carved out its own loyal audience and has since become something of a cult classic. In his tribute, Cohen posted a grainy vintage still from the show, a scene in which the entire cast is crowded onto a sagging floral sofa, laughing so hard that one actor is mid-tears. Beneath it, he wrote, "I grew up watching these people every Thursday night. They taught me that friendships can be just as important as family, that imperfection can be lovable, and that there's beauty in chaos. Thank you, Room for Everyone, for making a little boy in Street Louis feel like he was part of your living room." It's a sentiment that, for Cohen's followers, felt deeply personal. While he's best known for the glossy drama of the Real Housewives reunions, Andy Cohen is at heart a true TV historian, a man who collects trivia about vintage network programming with the same zeal others reserve for baseball stats. And Room for Everyone held a particularly soft spot in his heart because of one cast member, the late actress Evelyn Carter, who played the matriarch figure landlord B. Whitmore. Carter, who passed away earlier this week at 88, was remembered by former co-stars as a warm, sharp-tongued woman whose humor carried as much wisdom as wit. On the show, B's knack for offering unsolicited advice, often while wielding a feather duster or a teapot, became a running gag. Off-screen, Carter's kindness left lasting imprints on younger actors, many of whom had never been on a set before. In a follow-up video posted to his Instagram stories, Cohen flipped open a worn VHS case. Inside was a homemade label, "Room for Everyone, Season 1 Highlights." He explained that it was one of the first tapes he ever bought at a flea market, and that he's kept it for over 30 years. Andy Cohen is a man who can spin a story with the same ease that he twirls his cue cards during a live Bravo reunion. But even the most unshakable host can get a little misty-eyed when speaking about the shows that shaped his childhood. And on this particular morning, the air in his SiriusXM studio carried that exact mix of warmth and nostalgia. It was Monday, just past 8 a.m., when Andy leaned forward into the microphone, his coffee steaming in a Watch What Happens live mug. The usual sass in his tone was softened by something more reflective. "You know," he began, "when I was a kid, there was this show, this absolute gem of a sitcom that ran in the late 70s. And it wasn't just a show to me. It was, in a lot of ways, my introduction to what television could do. The show was Sunny Side Up, a half-hour ensemble comedy about a mismatched group of tenants in a crumbling Manhattan brownstone. It wasn't a smash hit by rating standards, but it had heart. And for a young Andy Cohen, growing up in St. Louis, glued to the TV, it was magic. I'd sit cross-legged on the shag carpet, right in front of the console set. And that theme song would start," Andy said, smiling at the memory. "The saxophone, the jazzy little drum line, and then they'd show those quick freeze frames of the characters, all of them waving from the stoop or leaning out the window. It felt like they were saying hi to me." The cast of Sunny Side Up was a ragtag group. Louis Baxter, the grumpy superintendent with a secret soft side. Ruthie Palmer, the aspiring singer who belted show tunes from her fifth-floor walk-up. Mrs. Callahan, the widowed grandmother with a knack for solving everyone's problems. And, of course, Danny Fields, the wisecracking deli owner whose shop sat on the ground floor. It was Danny, played by character actor Harvey Klein, who became Andy's favorite. Harvey had this way of delivering a punchline that made it feel like he was in on a secret only you knew, Andy explained. He could be yelling about an overcooked bagel 1 second, and then, without missing a beat, he'd be giving you the most heartfelt advice. The news had broken that weekend. Harvey Klein had passed away at the age of 89. Tributes trickled in from former co-stars, fans, and TV historians. But for Andy, the loss felt personal. "This morning," Andy said into the mic, "I want to pay a little tribute, not just to Harvey, but to Sunny Side Up and everything it gave me." He queued up the theme song, now digitized and pulled from some dusty TV archive. The music poured through the speakers, instantly transporting listeners back to the era of bell-bottoms and avocado green kitchen appliances. As the jaunty melody played, Andy painted a picture for those who weren't there. Imagine a set that looked like a real New York apartment, not some glossy sitcom fantasy. The walls had peeling paint. The stairwell light flickered. And yet, it was warm. It was alive. Every week, the neighbors found themselves in some ridiculous mess. A flooded bathroom, a surprise pet goat, a citywide blackout. But they always figured it out together. Andy recalled a particular episode that had stayed with him for decades. In it, Danny, Harvey Klein, tries to help Ruthie land a gig at a swanky supper club. Everything goes wrong. She loses her sheet music, the pianist gets food poisoning. But in the final scene, Danny stands in the corner of the club, watching as Ruthie nails the performance a cappella. There was this close-up of Harvey's face, Andy said. Pride, love, joy, all in one look. It was the first time I understood that comedy could have emotional weight. As he spoke, Andy's phone lit up with messages from listeners. One text read, I used to watch that with my grandmother every Saturday night. Another said, Harvey Klein was the reason I became an actor. Andy read them aloud, his voice warming with each one. Then came the part of the tribute that only Andy could pull off, weaving humor into heartfelt remembrance. Harvey once said in an interview that he knew Sunny Side Up wasn't going to win any Emmys. Andy chuckled, but he loved that it made people feel like they belonged somewhere. That's exactly how I felt. Like that brownstone was my second home. He shared a personal story about meeting Harvey at a television industry event years later. I was starstruck, Andy admitted. I walked right up and said, You don't know me, but you basically raised me. He laughed and said, Then I hope I did a good job, kid. And he had, not just for me, but for everyone who tuned in. The tribute stretched beyond Harvey's legacy. Andy spoke about the era when Sunny Side Up aired, the late 70s, when TV sitcoms began shifting from perfect, idealized families to messy, authentic communities. It was a time when television was getting braver, he said.